friend. I got 4 bad boys over here.
I saw a behind the scenes view. You've got like your desk isn't even up against the wall. You've got like a fortress of like information thing going on, right? Like a battle station.
4 monitors mounted to the wall. My computer's built into the desk.
How do you upgrade it?
First of all, I future-proofed it for years to come. I spent 10 grand on the fucking thing.
Oh my God.
So it's good for a while. I have plenty of room, plenty of good parts, but it would be removing this big glass and then changing out parts.
Yeah, like it's not like a Mac, right? You can do that because
everything's coming.
Yeah. And then how many PCI slots do you have though? Do you
4.
Yes, I knew it was 4.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought that was fun.
I have 2 video cards there, 2 GTX 1080s.
Crazy. I remember the first computer I ever assembled was like 64 megabytes of like an NVIDIA card or something like that. And it was the fastest thing ever because it ran like Tribes at like 64 frames a second. I was like, oh my God, this is gorgeous, right? And now like everybody laughs at it. But
I mean, I have 64 gigs of RAM in my computer, and everyone's like, oh, 16 is fine. I'm like, what? No. That's blasphemy.
But let's get this party started. I'm super psyched that I'm here with Ball Deep, based out of New York. Like I mentioned to Ball Deep earlier, I don't really have like an intro. We're just gonna say like hi everybody. I'm not like doing like all the way down because I hate that part of lives when like, hey, how you doing? Blah blah. It's like that's not this type of interview.
Call everybody out by name specifically and reference them in the closing of your segment, which we'll get into later.
Like, that's for later, right? But I met you originally at John Logar. Is it Logar or Logar?
Either or.
If you're Nick Robbins, it's Logar, right?
Logar. Legit Nick Robbins says Logar. I say Logar.
Yeah, it's one of the 3. Either way, John Logar, right? And I got in touch with him because Sema tagged me on an event and said you need to pay this guy money. And I was like, you're smarter than me. Let's do it.
Yep.
Fly over to Denver, Colorado, and in September of like, what was it, 2 years ago or something like that, right?
2017, yeah. 2017.
And by around that time, I was still like overly sensitive about like my place in the world and like agency stuff. And like
you're very shy. Like I tried to speak to you outside and you're like, okay, I'm going to go get some food. Bye.
Yeah, bye. Yeah. And I was like, I couldn't like have a conversation. Like I hadn't like fit into like the character of who I was transforming to yet. I was still like split across, right? And then someone was like, that guy's name is Ball Deep. I was like, stop fucking with me. Like, I can't deal with this. I'm too emotionally sensitive. I'm like, no, his name is really like Ball Deep. And I had no idea that you had this like really awesome story ranging from like, you own multiple real life businesses like your parents said you should own, like 7 figures, and then transitioned and sold the whole thing. Like, you've got a whole back end story that is the equivalent of people who drive like Lamborghinis, but you don't. Right? Like,
yeah, 7. At the time when I bought it, it was like 120 grand, and then I put like 25 grand into it.
God damn it!
I never posted too much.
Totally ruined the intro. Okay. But I guess like the cool part is now for everybody watching, you can communicate that story, which I think is like really, really, really darn awesome. And you come from not like the ClickFunnels or the Dan Henry side. You come from like a totally separate universe of people that, like, most people don't know your background or your story. So, I mean, let's get this party started. Like, how did you graduated and then what, right?
Yeah. So, like after graduating college, fucking around through college, not really accomplishing much.
Going to classes and that was it, right?
Barely, right? One of those types of things. Graduated, whatever. I ended up, I worked like Best Buy, bullshit like that. And then I ended up going into tax preparation. Mainly because I was like, oh, cool, I could do this thing for 4 months and make some good money and see what happens.
So you were preparing people's taxes.
Yeah, and this was 2008. 2000.
The height of the financial recession.
So interesting because who would be my future business partner at that time, who was working with me in that office, we were working there as preparers, and he had just received a severance package from Wall Street, like a bunch of people, like. He's like, he was super overqualified to be there, and he was just like there, just like whatever, like just to keep himself busy.
Yeah.
So we ended up partnering up, purchasing that office, and then over the next 5 years or so, building that into $3.5 million.
Don't gloss over like that's not like a big deal, okay? Like we turned it into like $3.5 million. Like, no, okay.
So there's a lot that goes into it, right? And a lot of it you can apply to the agency, like scaling from one location, then the following year doing 2, and then the following year after that doing 3, and then jumping to 5, and then to 13, in multiple coasts, right? We're talking New York, where I live, they're making a jump to California, which at the time was unheard of for somebody to say, oh, in this industry, to completely open up across the country. Like nobody had done it. Since then, a few people that I know have done it, and just make it work. So you learn really fast in that space, having 250 employees, seasonal, especially low hourly wage typically. You learn really fast to fire them quickly, to delegate and get rid of stuff you don't want to do. Like you can't, there's no physical way you can drive to 3 locations, 5 locations and service the client. So you have to remove yourself from the day-to-day. So I learned that really quick.
Well, so before we go into that, you started doing actual tax prep work out of college. Like you were behind the table. People would present like the W-2 or the 1040 and all that stuff, and put it together, put the computer magic happens. And
the funny thing, not to cut you off, but the funny thing about that is that was the first time I realized that in the 15 minutes it took me to do something, especially like the quick ones, the easy ones, I was like, that was the first time I realized I had to stop thinking with my own pocket, which is what a lot of agencies do. Because I'm sitting there like fucking 23 years old, 24 years old, whatever. And I'm like, cool, boom. And then I see the fee pop up. It's like $700. I'm like, I just did this thing in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's the first time I'm like, wait, I can't think with my own pocket. And that kind of gave me the lessons and like, all right, we should just charge more.
That's interesting. Wait, so let's roll back a second. So you met your future business partner unknowingly. You're doing these tax offices. You realize like if you nail it, you can do $700 in 15 minutes again and again and again. How did you go from like, did you like buy into your first location, or how did you get your first deal? Or like, how did you say like, hey, this is Baldeep's tax prep office? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it was a franchise. I bought an existing franchise, the one that I worked in. And then from there, basically I think I only opened up one brand new office. Everything else was acquisition. So I would acquire people looking to exit or struggling, pick them up for whatever pennies on the dollar for some a little bit more, work out different finance deals to say, all right, hey, I'm going to give you this down payment and I'll pay this out over time.
So you had like your mini M&A shop powered by a guy who actually did mergers and acquisitions.
Well, I mean, we worked all the deals.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like you had this guy that came from like a Wall Street background, right?
Yeah,
Who came in saying, this is going to be a big deal. I just got to figure out how to make it work. And there you are saying, I know how to make it work. Let's do this together, right?
Yeah, it was kind of just fell in place. Like, hey, like, all right, you handle this, I handle this. And then at a certain point, it's like, all right, when we went to 2 offices, all right, I'll run one, you run one. Yep. And then it's like, okay, hey, we opened up a third one. Well, this guy's good, so let's make him manage that one. And then from there, it's like, all right, by the time I exited, I was super hands off. Like I didn't go to the offices.
And that's really how you exercise the skill set of saying someone else can do it, delegating, I'm not the person to do it, because there's just no physical way, right?
You can't, like, especially going from East to West Coast, no physical way I can fly to California every day if something happens.
Like you had to say, like, you're the general manager, you figure it out, and here's like your manual and stuff like that. Yeah, and then, obviously, like, people, when they're that far away, think that they're worth a lot more than they are, and they try to take advantage. And then when you fire them and replace them remotely, it's interesting. Yeah. It was like a playground for all the skills to make an agency actually work, right?
Yeah, so more so on the customer service side. And
tell me more.
A lot of people don't go. So like the types of offices I was in, like we're dealing with lower income demographics, people that are going to come in and their refunds delayed. They're like, yo, I'm going to blow this motherfucker up, like yelling in your face. Like you're talking like you're in the hood in most cases, right? So it's like really bad element. But if you could diffuse the situation in that type of market, which you have to learn how to do, when a business owner is calling you and yelling about them not getting leads, it's like a walk in the park.
Gotcha.
Right? It's like, okay, no problem, sir.
So I used to work for Intel, right? And Intel was like, it was not like a soft place to be. It was like all these like old school guys that like land like $1 billion deals. I think they're like top shit, right? And I always like was subconsciously nervous talking to them because like you'd pass out bios so you knew how big of a dick they had before you talked to them, right? And so like my philosophy was like, hold on, if I can deal with a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt for 20 minutes and not tap out, I can deal with your cocky motherfucking ass. Like that was like my philosophy, right? And that's exactly what your approach is too. Like you dealt with people that would like were pretty darn bad. So now dealing with clients, customers is really not that big of a deal, right?
Not at all. And it really gives you like that insight on just customer service. Like, for example, like if an issue arises, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to talk to this client. I don't want to bring up a bad scenario. But the quicker you can address the situation, and show them how you're going to rectify it or attempt to rectify it, or show them like next steps or ways you're going to improve or do this. All day. That's like, I had a client, Facebook had like an algorithm change of one of their many, but it like really shit bombed their leads. And they're a big franchise, right? They're like, you know, they spend like $5,500 a month with me. So they're like a pretty decent sized client. And literally Facebook like took a shit on everything we were doing. So I literally just recorded a video, say, hey, just want to show you, here's some articles about the algorithm changes. Here's how it's affecting your campaign. And here's what we're doing moving forward to rectify the situation. I just sent it off to the VP that I dealt with. And he's like, oh, the CEO really appreciated you taking the time and gave us that insight. It's all about little shit like that.
It's like it was 5 minutes to save a $5,500 time.
Everyone's so afraid, and they're like, oh, I don't want to look at that email. It's going to be bad. Like, no, you just have to address situations, explain what's happening, and have a plan moving forward. Whether the plan's bullshit or not, that's on you. Do they know it's bullshit or not? Maybe.
Right.
But as long as you're making that effort. And a lot of people just stop there. And that's why you see people say like, oh, I can't keep a client for more than 2 months.
Because they're not proactively addressing why something is going wrong or bad or something like that. That's interesting. So how long between when you got your first location, which you bought into, you're like, I want to buy this thing. Let's do it. You bought it. How many did you peak at? Like how many like physical brick and mortar locations?
15.
You peaked at 15 locations. How long did it take you to go from 0 to 15 locations?
5 years.
5 years. So you had about 3 per year. And sometimes they would come really fast. Sometimes like they wouldn't. But your whole approach was like, I'm going to buy a business where a guy wants to exit. I'm going to buy a business that's distressed. We're going to do pennies on the dollar. And that way you have a business that is profitable and that works, right? It's really hard to buy like a supremely healthy business because they go for a premium, right? Yeah. And you can't make money like that, right?
Yeah. And then the working out the deals, right? They're like, a lot of times what I ran into was owner operators, like they are the business. Yep. So it's interesting and it's funny how this shit works. Like in that industry specifically, or in multiple industries, like you walk into a business that you visited year over year, and all of a sudden it's all new faces. And instead of staying there and patronizing that business, you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna go to a whole different spot that I don't know anybody at, just because I don't see the people that I know here.
It's so true.
And I'm like, how does that happen? So all of my deals were contingent on a certain type of retention, and I knew going in that we would lose 30 to 40% of the people because they were the business. They didn't have managers in place. They didn't have people in place that were the faces. They were the face, so people just left with them. So I always end up getting a better deal at the end.
So did you learn how to like think about this from your business partner? Did you like take business classes? Like how did you know about this stuff before you were doing it? Or you just like, you kind of like failed forward or something like that?
I mean, I kind of just figured it out as it went. Yeah, my business partner had a lot of insight in certain aspects of it. But as far as like doing like a lot of the deals and finding those opportunities and negotiating that stuff, I typically handle that.
Yeah.
I would just come to him and be like, hey, what do you think about this? All right, this is available. Like, all right, what do we have? Who do we have over there? Who do we know that we can put in place? Right.
Very cool. And you got these deals by like just spreading the word, or is there like website?
So it was I would just call up some of the people, find out. I would speak to some of the reps at the company or other area developers, because in that time frame, I had purchased master franchise rights. So my responsibility also now encompassed selling franchises. So I had my own leads of stuff. I'd sell some of my other franchise territories that I own. So it was a lot of stuff mixed together. But if I want to go into a market, I'd have relationships. I'd call up the person that was the area rep in that market. I'd say, who's in there that's primed for an exit?
Yeah.
And I'd get the inside track on who's doing what, who sucks, which ones are good areas, which ones are not, and then take it from there.
So what I really like about that is like, if you wait, it's kind of like buying a house. Like if you wait till it's on Trulia and Zillow, you're going to have to fight. You're going to have to compete. But if you're proactively like talking to brokers or like people who like have the inside point of view, you're going to get a deal where the guy's like, he can't handle it, just wants cash. Like, just get me out of this thing. And that was your approach to their business too. And that's how I've been reading like real estate books. They're like, yeah, you could go on Trulia and Zillow and like do all that stuff. Or you could just build relationships like a normal person, give somebody 4 months heads up and be like, hey, when you're ready to sell to me, and you close in 2 weeks. And that's kind of like your approach, which like makes total, I think, sense, but people just don't think that way.
Yeah, I did that in assignments and wholesaling down in Dallas. I had a partner in Dallas, another company, and we would acquire houses for cash and flip the paper before we even close on the deal.
That's like on the commercials. Like that's what you think. Just flipping the paper.
In Texas, it was easier. Like I don't do it in New York. I never tried. But in Texas, it was easier because they don't even have to put down cash. You just like put like a 10-day clause. And then in those 10 days, I would find somebody to buy it at more than what I put on paper.
That's so cool. That's monopoly level stuff.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Like when you bought a location, did you then just handle the operations or did you get focused on the marketing side? Like how did you build the skill set that enabled you to do Facebook ads or marketing or things like that?
So it's funny. I didn't try Facebook ads at all because back then there was all just like grassroots guerrilla marketing, like referrals, things like that, just pumping out cash to get more cash in. So that's really what it was. I didn't really try Facebook ads like until like I want to say like 2015. I tried it with one of these a company I was starting up. Didn't really do too good at it. I actually accidentally spent like $200 a day because I was using Ad Espresso. I was like just like doing all this dumb shit. I was using Ad Espresso, and I realized now what I did then was I created $20 ad sets instead of just $20 total.
Yeah.
And it just ran like, wait, how did I just spend that much money? So yeah, all of my Facebook ad stuff didn't really happen until I think 2016. I went into like all right, SEO agency kind of thing, and then just kind of fell into Facebook ads.
Okay, so let me take a step back. Like after you hit 15 locations, how did you exit? Did you say like, all right, I'm out, I'm gonna sell everything? Did you you get a buyout or like what was the transition between?
There was some money exchange involved. Not what I'd liked, but I can't really talk further about it because there's litigation.
Gotcha. Okay, so you sold it, right? And then you said, what's next for Ball Deep? And then you moved into agency, Facebook ads. You're like playing around.
Yeah, I was fucking around for a little. I mean, I had a decent chunk of change, so I was fucked around for about a year. Tried some e-com stuff. I actually went back to e-com. Did all right this past Christmas, but before this Black Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just kind of messed around, and then just kind of went into the agency thing.
Gotcha.
I didn't buy like Dan Henry's course or anything. Like obviously I knew who he was.
Yeah.
But that's like where I met like Nick. I met him in some random mastermind of some other guy who disappeared off the face of the earth, and then we ended up just staying in touch, and that's kind of like what happened.
Very cool. And so I've got on here or on the bullet points like how you got in front of 1,000 future Facebook ads clients. So what does that mean to get in front of like 1,000 people? Because in my background, and I have like the old school business philosophy of like just go talk to a normal human being. The best way to like talk to a person and get them to pay you is ask them to pay you money, and then they do it. But your approach was really like you got to have 15 people talking to you or 100 people or 1,000 people talking to you. You didn't want to do this one person at a time. You wanted to do this 1,000 people at a time. So can you talk about how you got in front of 1,000 of future Facebook ads clients?
It's not that I wanted to, it was a necessity, and I'll break it down how that happened. So 2017, in December of 2017, a little bit after we met, and we didn't even talk about that interview in December, but we get back to it. So in December 2017, like I had already entered the tax business, all that stuff. Somebody reached out to me and said, hey, they had tax offices during the franchise I was in. They're like, hey, I see you're doing Facebook ads. Can you, like, I got pitched by a company to do our ads, and they just don't know.
Okay, that's how you got started, because one of your
I had already been doing Facebook ads.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right? Not the industry that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So he reaches out. Like I had clients already. Like we had a decent sized agency. Like anywhere, I would have 20 grand months, 60 grand months, 30 grand months. Like it was all over the place, right? So a decent amount of clients. Nobody in that industry. So he reaches out to me and he's like, hey, this guy said they could do this for me, but they don't fucking get it. They don't understand like this industry. They don't understand this business. Like you actually know it more so better than a lot of people, right? So why can you figure this out? Yeah. So this was like end of like mid-December. I'm like, sure. I went to his office. I broke out. We built out a campaign. I brought this guy Ramon with me. And
wait, was this when you went live and you were driving around in New York during winter?
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. And I was just calling people up. And as I left, I'm like, dude, this could fucking work. And I just called up people and I'm like, yo, you got money? Like all the friends that I like had in the industry, right? Like that I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I was about to spend 13 grand. No, give me fucking money, right? Give me 3 grand. Right. And I spent 3 grand on ads. Like it was what I told him back then. And so I ended up getting like 10 people on my program in a week.
Yeah.
And I had to set it all up in a week, but it was like whatever. I just threw shit up and it worked. Cool. No big deal. Didn't even think about it for a year. So I'm sitting there. I'm on a...
Wait. So you get a phone call from an old friend that's like, hey, I just got pitched for Facebook ads. can you take a look? And you're like, yeah, man, like I've been messing around with Facebook ads. You and I go back to the tax office space. Let's see what's up. And then you look at it, you're like, I could probably do better. And that inspires you to start calling back all your old buddies and all of their friends, be like, hey, you know, you're doing like all that marketing, spend your money with me. And then they say yes.
Yeah. I mean, I had a relation, like, it's not like my influence held some weight. It wasn't like I was just like Joe Schmo off the street. Like a lot of these guys, you know, they developed their whole call center strategy based off my my methodology. Like
you had a rep in the industry.
It's not like I just came out of nowhere and was like, oh, I don't know what I'm talking about, right? Like,
gotcha. Okay.
So, and it was easy to work with them because I'm like, they already had call centers in place. They already had follow-up in place because they built it off of my principles. They built everything off of what I had built in the industry. And
you know all the ins and outs because you've been running the darn thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, aren't there like some specific terms that only tax office people do that I don't?
Technology, yeah. A lot of industry jargon, right? A lot of industry jargon, just like in any industry.
Yeah.
So I didn't think about it for a year. And then I'm actually on a hangout with one of the guys that's a client on, like a friend of mine who's a client on the tax program last year. And I'm sitting on a hangout, I'm like, you know what, fuck it, let me write up an ad. And I wrote up an ad, and I'll get into like the right way and I'll break it down. And literally the ad was, you know, calling it the same formula. Call attention to the audience, right? Create that common understanding. Like, hey, I get you, other people don't get you.
Yeah.
Right? I mentioned, hey, last year we developed this program, right? Here's what we did, right? Here's like a quick snippet of a result. So if you're tired of all this other bullshit, click this button and learn more. It was basically what it was.
Yeah.
Right? So all I did was had that ad going to a lead form, and on the lead form thank you button was a link to my calendar. It was like super basic. I didn't even have an email. I didn't even have a spreadsheet, nothing.
Okay, wait, hold on. This is going to get really complicated real fast for everybody watching. Okay, so the first version of your 1,000 client program, right, whatever we're calling this, right, was actually last year, right, in 2017. And you called up some old friends of friends. You're like, hey, I'm going to do these Facebook ad things. Pay me to do it. And you're like, great. And you write up the ad based upon your previous experience. It works. Great, fine, perfect. And you just totally forget about it. You're talking with an old buddy and you're like, we should do it. So you put up an ad and you put it up on the internet, right? Using that formula right there. And all it is a lead form, right? Facebook will leave that name, number, and email. They click thank you. It goes to your calendar, right? That's it. No like complicated VSLs or anything like that. It's literally to tax offices where you say like, hey, I understand you're paying. These are results. Do you want to talk? And that's it.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay, go on.
So literally by the next day, like my calendar was jam-packed back to back.
Yeah.
Into like going into the next week, I had to open up weekend slots because my Monday and Tuesday of the following week were already booked.
So people like hitting your Calendly, like saying, I'm interested in taking the next step.
Literally 30-minute calls back to back, like literally like fucking back to back, right?
Yeah.
So, like it was good. I jumped on all these calls. I'm setting up join me's, and then I'm doing all these pitches. And the problem was there's a lot of no-shows. So it was like 50% of the people didn't show up.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there. I have 30-minute window. They don't show up. I don't have enough time to do anything else. But the calls that I did have were great. They were so good. People wanted to pay me. And I'm like, okay, great. Let me send you out a document next week because I had nothing set up for it. Like nothing.
You had like, no, this is going to sound messed up, but you weren't thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead. No. You were like, let's do this and see if it works. You go, oh shit, it's working. Do the next thing. Here's
what I wanted to get across the whole time was happening was I did not want to turn off what was working. So it was always like a bandage process. So in that time frame, I'm like, shit, I'm overwhelmed. I'm back-to-back calls. I can't even get a proposal done. So I reached out to Jameson. I don't know if you know Jameson. You met his partner Ross in Florida.
Yeah, the Canadians. Yep.
I'm like, hey, Jameson, can you help me build a proposal? Like I'm fucking too busy, so just built it out. And then through that conversation, like they just saw my calendar, and both of them happened to have an agency. They already knew what they were doing, so they jumped on the team to kind of get this whole thing organized and in motion because I couldn't move. Like I could not breathe.
Yeah, like, you were just stuck either having a sales call or waiting for a sales call.
Exactly. I had no time to do anything else. So quickly what we did, like when Ross came on, we changed up the calendar. We just quickly changed it to like a group Zoom call. So made it into a webinar basically. So now that same ad, instead of taking them to a link to book in my calendar slot, it took them for a link to pick between one of 6 slots that week to come on a live call.
Okay, so you've got an ad up and running. you're spending some money, you're doing like your secret tax office stuff that I know you can't share, but like you have an ad that like follows it, right? You got your own targeting and it's working, and tax office people are actually clicking and scheduling a meeting. But let's go back a step. So like when you were on the phone with one of these tax office people, was it like a slide deck or something? Or are you just on the phone asking questions, or what did that sales call look like?
The first iteration was me just walking them through the stuff from last year.
Gotcha.
It wasn't like I just showed them all this stuff. I didn't have anything formal until the webinar came, and then we made a formal presentation.
Gotcha. Okay. And that was when you doing those group Zoom calls.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. Okay, go on. So by this time, the Canadians come in. Ross is watching right now. He's like, we're going to fix your stuff. And your philosophy should not be to turn off the faucet, keep it going, and then build the canal along the way. Because otherwise, like, shit's going to break and you're going to have a heart attack, right?
I've done it in the past, and I've been a victim of it in the past. It's like, hey, I found a strategy that works to get me appointments, right? Great, awesome. Let's turn that off and do something else. And I'm like, I'm sure you've done it. Everyone's done it. And I'm like, I don't have the luxury of waiting to try different things. Like, if this is working great, let's try other stuff and spend money elsewhere and see if that works too. But let's never turn off what's working.
Gotcha. So you got the one-on-ones. Half the people aren't showing up. When they do, you sell them. And now you're like, man, I can't move. Call Ross. You're doing a group call. And one of those group calls, like, it's the same thing saying, you want to pay me money? Alex, John, Melissa, and Alex and John and Melissa, and over again, right?
So that's where Nick Corum,
yeah, Nick Corum, yeah.
He was dropping the eights because you guys got to see the webinar. So like I literally like everybody comes on, I'm doing the intro, and the cool thing was, I'm asking them, hey, where are you from? How many locations? So I'd have an idea of like I know their name, I know where they're from, I know where they're at in business wise, and basically nobody on the call had ever had more locations than I had at one time. Like they like nobody on the call had a more successful business than I had at the time. Like
so just like when you did your first version, you're in person, you're like, I've done this before, you're doing that just online, right?
Now it's online, right? Gotcha. So now it's like, hey, I'm just getting this information. I'm like getting this information. Then I jump into the presentation, which is basically the same demo, but I'm just kind of breaking down a little bit more detail, more kind of like pitchy, more drop an 8 in the chat if you're with me. Like,
give me a 2 if you like what you're seeing.
Does that make sense? Give me a 2 if that makes, like, I just yell, like literally I have some people say that I yelled and I didn't sign up. I'm like, all right, you are my customer anyway.
Yeah.
But so that was interesting. And then at a certain point in the webinar towards the end, like the 15-minute mark, I would literally, like in one part of it, I would drop everyone's name and their location. And like in like kind of like a punchline and say, hey, I can't do this for you. And I can't go to all your cities and you drop your name, drive there, do that, and do this for you. Yeah. Right. But here's what we can do. And then I say, hey, do you want to know how this can be applied to you? And then from there they went to application. And then from application, after they submitted the app, they would book a call.
So it was a Facebook ad, and then they just go to a Zoom room, like you're doing like twice a day or something like that, right?
Yep.
And you'd have like 20, 30 people on there all at once. Yep. And you did it so often. I mean, I think we did the numbers last night. It's like it was over 1,000 people, not all at once, but like over the course of time.
Over the course, yeah, because the average, like I did them 6 times a week. Sometimes I did more a week, and that was just the live ones, and we averaged anywhere from 30 to 50 people.
Perfect. And then you had your slide deck. You went through it. Here's everything that you're getting, and it was very. Did you follow like Jason Fladlien or something like that, or Russell Brunson in your your webinar?
I followed like his yes questions at the end for Jason Fladlien.
Yeah.
For the actual presentation, I just was like, yo, this is what it is. I didn't do any kind of like 3 secret, none of that bullshit. I'm like,
Epiphany Bridge.
Yeah. I didn't do any of that crap. I just did the yes questions at the end, and I'm like, book a call, right? I did other webinars for something else I'll talk about later that I try to do all that stuff, and it worked okay. It wasn't the best, but the most money was made from that live call. Gotcha.
So you said like, all right, if you want to take a next step and pay me money and do Facebook ads for you, and you're like, I've done it before, it's worked. This is the previous program. Fill this application, and they fill it out, and then you get them on the phone and ask for money, or what was that follow up like?
Yeah, so that was basically finding out, do they have the money?
Yeah,
right? And if they're interested, if they're ready to go, we shoot out the contract and either collect the credit card on the spot, or they fill it out and we take payment after.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that was basically the process. Really, a lot of the getting to go back to the bullet point, right? The right way to get in front of the Facebook ads clients. A lot more went into that. Like we tried VSLs. VSLs had a good application percentage, right? People like getting on the call with us. but the problem was they didn't actually watch the VSL. So I was re-pitching them. So I was like, no, we're shutting that off. I don't have time to do a pitch call when we had these many leads. There's just way too many people that saw what's going on for me to waste time with people who didn't. But one of the big things that we did, we had our pipeline set up in a way where, like, hey, a new lead comes in, right? There's a pipeline column for that in Pipedrive. Yeah. We had missed demos. So if they booked in for one of the demos, the webinars, but they didn't attend, there would be a missed demo column. There would be a column for demo booked, right? And there would be a column for people that watched it but didn't submit an application. We would have one for people that submitted an application but didn't book a call. And we had people that missed their review calls.
So when people talk about like processing or systemizing, that's what you purposefully or accidentally did. Like you looked at like, all right, let's say somebody signs up, but they forget the webinar. That's a column, right? Did they do the next step? That's a column. And then all the way through until like they bought. So you end up with like 16 columns or something like that, a huge number, right?
Yeah, and Jameson set up all the tech. Like he was like, all right, here's the columns. Like he decided what columns would make sense. I was just busy on the phones. So he decided that. And then Ross, we ended up hiring some calls. I actually posted in your group and we hired some people, right? And we literally had people calling all the new leads that did not book into the demo to get them booked into the demo. We had all the people that missed the demo to get them rebooked into the demo. We
go back to the webinar and watch it again.
Their whole job was to get people in front of me. Then we had somebody else calling everybody that booked for that day to confirm that they would attend.
Oh, wow.
So we had confirmation calls, which increased the show rate. Like we had a phone call at every step of the way for just to get them in front of me. On top of email, text messages, all that stuff. Like, so we had phone callers for everything.
So you got somebody, they filled out the form. They don't show up to the webinar. They get a phone call or text saying like, hey, you showing up? And they're like, yeah, I guess. They don't show up. Like, hey, why didn't you show up? Go back to the webinar.
Yeah, and then get a phone call and a text and an email and everything,
like every way that they could possibly do it. And then like if they watch the webinar and they don't buy, it's like, hey, you forgot to give me money. I mean, they scheduled an appointment. Hey, you forgot to schedule an appointment. Go back and like schedule an appointment. Correct. And then they scheduled an appointment but didn't make it or didn't buy. Like you've got reinforcements for every step of the way. Yep. And I think that's why your 12 grand turned to 300, right?
It was trying to take advantage of every single opportunity that was in that pipeline because we had such a short time to do it. So we needed the manpower to make sure that as many people as possible could get in front of me. And then from there, as many people as possible can get on a sales calls with me, right?
Gotcha. So you've got, let's just play the numbers, 1,000 people on like a one webinar. Just pretend that. Like how many people end up buying for a webinar? Like 10%, 15%, something like that, right?
From the actual lead, from attend, I think it was like 12%.
Yeah.
Actual total leads, it was like 3 to 5%.
Okay, so like if you're on the webinar, 10%, let's just say 10%, right? But 90% of the people aren't. And the normal Facebook ads guy or gal or agency is just like, just do some retargeting. You're like, no, F that. Like these are people I got to get in front of their face. I got to get them come back. We only have, how long is like your season for this? Like 2 months? You know what I mean? You ain't got time to like.
We don't have time to fuck around. The campaign only runs for 1 month. Like what we're selling them is a 1 month campaign.
Gotcha.
Right? But we can only sell it for a certain amount of time. Like we can only sell, like we cut it off sometime in December, but we still took people after. I took one guy that hit me up after, like he was on the program last year, didn't sign back up. He had like two different things that we did for him. So it was like a $5 grand deal. And he's like, oh, I don't want to do it. He called me up a week into the program. He's like, yo, I heard you got that fired.
I do. You want to give me money?
So like, yeah, you could pay me now. He took his money, like the same card as last year. Cool. Done. Right. So yeah, we took people on in early January, but like really we're telling people, even the ad we're only taking 25. We ended up taking way more than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we try to cut it off at a certain point. So we had a lot of scarcity offers coming out, like, hey, time's closing, like sign up time's closing, like, are you in, are you out? And just kind of say, are you in or are you out at the end of the day?
So your follow-up and your sales calls weren't like, hey, we're just checking in. How's it? Like you weren't like nice about it. You're like, hey, we need to know, do you want to go to this webinar or not? Because I got to take you off this list and give your spot to somebody else. Was it like, that was that type of approach, right? You're like, make a decision.
Well, so the follow-up calls to get into the webinar was like, hey, you just inquired. It was a very cordial.
Yeah.
Follow-up calls after, I'm sure they were really polite. I didn't do follow-up calls after. Ross did, and since he's Canadian, he's probably really nice about it. So I'm sure they're a lot nicer than if I would have done them. Like, yo, motherfucker, you ready to sign?
Like, are you doing this or not? Get off the line. Yeah.
I mean, so the people that I knew, I would call and be like, yo, I didn't get your shit. We got to go. Like, I don't have time to wait for you to sign. Like, I'm doing it, bro. I'm like, no, we got to do it now. What's your card number? right? Like those are the people like I speak to. But
That's so funny.
we'll get into that follow-up stuff. We could get into it now if you want.
Well, give me like 2 seconds because like my brain is like capping out. Like I'm trying to like be where my audience is. Like I've seen your campaign a million times. I get it, right? But for somebody who hasn't, this is like absolutely mind blowing because we've all been on the receiving end of a webinar. Like whether it's like Kevin Davids or whether it's like Dan Henry's or Russell Brunson or Billy Jeans, were like they're calling and they're emailing, they're texting like, hey, watch the webinar again. You were doing that. You were actually doing that, and you're doing it for business owners, which are impossible to sell to because they're not on Facebook, right? But you're making this darn thing work, and because of it, you got reimbursed and paid by the universe from these people because of the work that you put into it. And some of the tools that you're using, you mentioned the Pipedrive was one of them, right?
Yeah.
Were there any other tools that you're using like to keep this process organized because you divided them into steps and you moved people back and forth? It was just Pipedrive the whole thing, right?
Pipedrive and a lot of Zapier.
Yeah.
Pipedrive and a lot of Zapier, yeah. That was an active campaign.
How come it's not harder? I don't understand. It's like one of the recurring themes that I've been noticing on like now my 3 years of Facebook ads is like once you figure it out, you realize how simple it was the whole time. Like complicating stuff doesn't get you paid and doesn't get your result. Like how come I'm not losing weight? Did you go to the gym? No. We'll go to fucking gym.
Well, it got sophisticated once Jameson started fucking with tags and all that stuff. And like, I'm like, I don't even know where shit's going anymore. Like, it's like, that's when it got a bit more sophisticated. But the overall core funnel like was like, all right, you're going to go from here to webinar to application to call. Like that was the core, right? All the connecting technical stuff, like that happened eventually. Yeah.
Gotcha. And so you didn't wait until the back end was fixed to start doing the front end. You're like, no, we need to get like people on my calendar, deal with that. Now we have a group call, deal with that. Now get it organized through the phone calls. Like like it was like chunks at a time, right? Yeah. And I honestly I fundamentally appreciate that about like you and your journey. You're like, I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to do everything out. I just have to effort through the problems, which I think is like absolutely fantastic for everybody watching. If you think you need your back end taken care of or you need to do this before you do that, it's fundamentally not true. Like Ball Deep was like, I don't need to worry about Pipedrive until we have a Pipedrive problem. I don't need to worry about a webinar until we have a webinar problem. I don't need to worry about group calls until we have a group call problem. Get the ad working and then figure it out from there. Now, how many, you ended up getting in front of 1,000 people and you signed 40 plus, I think it was like 49 or something like that.
In like December it was like 46, then we picked up a few more. It ended up being a bit over 50, I think. And then we sell like those types of clients was more like, so there was a lot, but we didn't have to do like fulfillment work for them. We'll get into that too later.
So let's just say it's an even 50, right?
Okay.
50 campaigns.
50 clients.
50 clients,
right? All right, so some clients were in multiple markets, so they paid for 3 quote-unquote campaigns, which in reality was 6 Facebook campaigns, right? So like we chunked a campaign out by market. So if they
so are you telling me you had 100 campaigns?
We had over 100 campaigns.
Oh my God, dude.
Right.
I felt the stress when you said 50 and now it's 100.
Well, think about this, right? So I had one client, I had a couple of clients that had 3 markets, right? So they actually ran they paid us 3 management fees for each market, right? And the management fees were $4,000. So I gave them a deal I was like, hey, I'll give you the 3 markets for 10.
Yeah.
Right. And then they had to spend money on ads separately, right? But because they had say they had 4 stores in a market, we would run 2 Facebook campaigns, a conversion campaign and a lead gen campaign. And inside those 2 campaigns, there would be 8 ad sets. And inside those ad sets, there would be 2 ads.
Oh my God. You know what my campaigns look like? 1. It's just 1. It's a campaign, a ad set, a ad. And you just did a whole lot of multiplication. I can't deal with it. So you had over 100 different campaigns with 8 ads each, right? So that's 800 ads to look at across a million different oh my God. So how do you, so you signed on 50 clients all within, let's just say 2 months, right?
Yeah.
Grew to $300,000. And now the always problem is like, what's next? And the fulfillment was like your next challenge. So how did you handle doing 100 campaigns in 3 weeks? That doesn't make any sense.
There's no playbook for that, Jeff.
Right.
There's no guru out there that says, I'm going to show you how to launch 100 campaigns in a week, right? There's no one that's going to done it. None of nobody's done it.
No.
So in a fucking manual to do it. So basically, did the live stream stop? I don't know.
No, you're still good.
Okay. So there wasn't like a manual for it, right? So literally what I had to do, and put it this way, right? Like we didn't start the onboarding till like mid-October, I want to say like onboarding is like a soft onboarding. So we had people that paid us in September and then didn't hear from us for like 3 weeks until we're like, oh, are you still alive? You just took our money. We haven't heard from you, right? So we didn't have our onboarding set up yet. We had no idea how we were going to do the onboarding, right?
I mean, you have confidence that you're going to figure it out, but you have no idea what you're doing. It's like,
we'll figure it out.
There's got to be some instructions about this. No, but we'll figure it out.
Like right? We literally I know Jameson pulled a bunch of lists of stuff to look at. And then I'm like, no, I don't like this and that. Like this is all like midnight conversations, like how we're going to do this, right? Because like everything else is sales. And then finally we ended up, 2 weeks later, we ended up going back to like the first option of the list, just as like a Band-Aid, like, all right, it'll work for now.
Yeah.
But really the one thing I want to stress is you need to get the bare minimum you need to get started.
Yeah.
Right. So, and a lot of people fuck this up. Like you have a Facebook ads client, you're like, hey, watch this video on how to give me access to your Facebook page and then do this and do this and do this.
Yeah.
Like, dude, these motherfuckers just paid you thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
They don't want to fucking watch a video and do stuff. Like you have to do it for them.
Yep.
So literally once we started we started the process of, all right, now it's time for the mandatory call. At a certain point, like every time somebody signed up, they were booked on a mandatory call with me like the next day or that day if possible. And all I would do is I would hop on a call with them, do a team viewer where I would log into their computer and like literally control their computer, tell them to log into Facebook, give myself access, create an ad account for them, a business manager for them, all that stuff for them on their computer, make them put it in their credit card, give myself access to their ad account and their page, and then make sure I had access and gave my team access to it. Once those things were checked off, like, okay, cool, I don't need to go on this call with you. While we were there, if they hadn't done so already, we got the other information we need, the bare minimum, right? The business name, the email we're going to send stuff to, the phone number they want us to forward leads to, the phone number we're going to have them, like all that different stuff, the addresses, right? Because we needed the addresses to know where to actually put the ads, right? Yeah. So like all the stuff that you would need to get the stuff set up in Ads Manager, minus the pictures. If they didn't have the pictures then, we're like, all right, no problem. At this point, we don't need them.
Yeah.
We can do that later. So once we got that information, Hazel would go and duplicate ClickFunnels stuff, create lead forms, create duplicate active campaigns, like literally assembly line that process. And we would leave it templated because we would come in and fill in the offers and the images later, right? So after that, we would have to harass them to get the offers and images. So there was a bunch of clients that didn't give us images. So we took images from other clients and made collages and used them, right?
Gotcha.
But ultimately what it was a massive assembly line, right? So we had that stuff happening. And then at a certain point, we had somebody coming in and creating all of the campaigns and ad sets and publishing them with no ads. You could publish ad sets and campaigns and ad sets with no ads. So they would sit there. Yeah. And then like a week before Christmas, started publishing ads. I literally published ads like the day before Christmas. Like all the ads got published because then we had everything set up.
Yeah. So
all the ads and everything got published. And then the next problem I had to deal with was 300 plus disapproved ads, right? So.
Okay. So what? 300 disapproved? What?
Yeah, over that. Like literally.
What do you mean 300 disapproved? What?
Yeah, massive ad disapprovals. So like you're like, okay, cool, we got it, we're good, we're on like day after Christmas, awesome, we're ready to go, like we're a week ahead. The campaign starts January 2nd. Then all of a sudden you just see reds all in your fucking ads, man, just for like half your clients.
Oh my god!
And it's all dumb shit like MLM, like fucking payday loan, this, that.
Click approval, something like that.
So like literally, I have like a whole notes template of how I responded back. Yeah. And sometimes it took 2 tries, sometimes 11, but I got every single one of them motherfuckers approved.
So, oh my god, I keep yawning today. I don't know why. So you run everything up. You think it's perfect. You get 300 disapproved ads. Are your clients bitching about this now, or they haven't a clue?
I mean, they see the emails because this for these particular clients, we did it all in their account, so they got all of it. So I'm like, don't worry, we're on it. Like they didn't care. Like it's still a week out of the campaign. You would get random forwarded emails about, oh, this ad was running and got disapproved, like throughout the lifeline of the campaign. But we get the notifications too, so it would just be a quick. But when you have so many, if it was like one ad in an ad set, sometimes I'll be like, fuck it, whatever. There's so many ads. You know,
but it wasn't like something fundamentally wrong. It was just like a missed flag. So like sometimes like, so I'm now running like ads for like my agency to attract like client opportunities.
The Asher.
the butt shirt and all that, right? And immediately it was flagged for nudity, right? I said, no, it's fine. It's just a funny joke. It's okay. I had to do that 3 times and they approved it. And then I got flagged for MLM and then work from home and then approved. It's like, depending upon how Facebook is feeling, right? It gets approved, but it's just my ad, right? Like, it's okay. But you had 300 and that's a walking heart attack. And like John Williams is like saying like, oh my God, like, like how do you deal with it? And John Williams, I think he has like 8 or 10 or 12 carpet cleaning clients right now. And he's about to explode. He's like super psyched. So he's like preemptively thinking about this. So this is like super important for him, I think. So you get like all the accounts up and running. You have all these contracts signed. You are doing all these webinars or like group calls. And everything is working. Was there like one moment where you look back and you're like, oh, I can't believe like we made this huge mistake? Or was it really like just constantly like trying to fix forward or something like that?
I mean, there wasn't like any massive things. Like, some people may have been on the team, may have been a bit nervous that like, hey, we're going to handle this. I'm like, don't worry about it. We got the money to fix it. Like, you always have the money to fix it, right? Like at that point you have that much money coming in. That's not the problem.
Yeah.
It's really just, there wasn't anything massive. The only thing I can say we could do better, which we're going to do next year, is the amount of people that I spoke to that were just fucking broke.
Yeah.
Like that were just like I don't even know how the fuck they say they have a business.
Yeah.
Which is where the downsell came from. But next year, now that we have the downsell already built, it's going to be the application is going to push them to the downsell, not even on the phone with me. So we'll be to spend more money on ads and only speak to qualified people.
So the application. So it was going back, like your system was like an ad. And then they sign up for a group call. And then if they want it, they have to fill out an application. And on the application, did you say like how much money are you willing to spend on marketing? You didn't have any of those questions, or you had something else, right?
I asked them, where they're from, how many returns they do, which is how like, so that once I know how many returns they do, and then I ask them what their average fee is, their average net fee is. So
you know how much money they're making, yeah. I
have an idea, like, okay, you're doing that, okay, you suck, or you're doing that, okay, you're good. If you have multiple locations, okay, you speak to me, right? Like, so like at a certain point, like the calendar was getting booked so fast after those calls, like we were just drag everybody over to Ross's calendar because Acuity doesn't have a system where they could just book on multiple calendars. Yeah. And I would just take the ones that had higher value. Like,
gotcha.
Okay, this application's good, let me do it. This was probably a downsell, but like we downsold on the phone to the ones that couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
Things like that. But yeah, so next year the better strategy will be, hey, if you're a downsell perspective, you're not going to get on the phone with us. You'll probably get phone calls to purchase it if you didn't buy it automatically.
Yeah.
Get on the phone with me, right?
Gotcha.
I need to speak to people that are going to pay us 3, 4, 10 more.
So if you were on the phone, so with this most recent campaign, the one you just, or the process or whatever it is, like you're on the phone with somebody and they're like, I can't afford $3,000. In the first phase, you were like, tough shit, see you later, bye. But you ended up creating your digital product so that you could make some money with somebody who couldn't afford it, right? What was it called? Or like, could you explain that at all?
Yeah, so we ran into the problem of, hey, you can't afford us, right? That was one of the biggest things. Like, so literally, I just called it Facebook ads for early season tax offices.
That's it. Easy, right?
Yeah, and then so like we had a sales page for it. Basically, we took the webinar. It was like, here's what's all included. Before we built it, I sold some on the phone to people like, oh, they couldn't afford it. I'm like, well, you know what? We have this other option, right? And I just walked them through like what it is. It's not going to be ready for another couple of weeks, but if you want it now, you can get it at this early bird price.
Right.
And then once we had a few of those, then we ended up building it. Well, Ross recorded pretty much all of it. I recorded like 2 videos.
Isn't that the funniest part? Like, I think that's a fundamental change with like this iteration of like whatever industrial revolution we're in. Now it's totally acceptable and preferred to sell a thing and then buy it. Way back in the day, you had to build it and sell it. Now it's like, no. We have to see if this is going to sell because then we're going to build it first. That's how it should be. And when you sell and then build, now you can sell something and build it to where like it makes sense for your clients or customers. Like, what if you build it wrong? Then what, buddy? Right? And that doesn't happen if you're selling it first.
I mean, we know what bullshit. Like people like can't figure it out. We did a lot more support than I would have liked, but it is what it is. We ended up making like 40 grand on that thing. So like,
perfect.
It worked out. Like I ran webinar. Like, I spent a lot of extra time trying to fucking figure out a webinar for it. The max it converted to was 5% on call. So I'm like, I hear that's good. I was just like, fuck. I mean, whatever. Next year,
you pick your battles, right?
Yeah, the money wasn't the done for you, and that's really like the least amount of headaches. Believe it or not, like people that obviously people that give you more money are typically less headaches.
Yeah, always, which is super weird. Before we go into that, guys, if you have any questions for Ball Deep, now is the time. Then we're going to move into the strategy session and stuff like that.
Ross made a comment. The guy who doesn't run ads built the Facebook ads course.
Pretty much.
He doesn't know how to run it. Like literally, like when I saw like some people were doing like the certain zaps, I'm like, why'd you tell him to do it that way? Nobody does it that way. He's like, I don't fucking know.
Right.
But he built the course, people got results out of it. So
that's the interesting part. Like fundamentally, you don't have to be an expert. You have to get somebody a result. So for everybody watching, ask your questions now. And then we've got about 11 minutes. Then we're bringing Sucker to a close. But what I've discovered is that when I pay somebody a lot of money, and I can't say the name of the mastermind I just joined, but like I'm paying this person an half ton of money, and I don't dare ask a question. Like that's just how like it works. And it's either because I know that my question could be answered, I know that there's an answer somewhere in like his like course area, or he's got a weekly thing I'm gonna ask the question to. Like I don't like PM him randomly. And I treated John Loger the same way, like my original coach. He's like, yeah, Jeff, you're gonna pay me a lot of money. I'm gonna get you from here to here. I'm not an expert, doesn't matter, because what I can do is get you from here to here. And if you got any questions, this is how it's gonna work. First thing is you're gonna figure out if it's a good question to ask me. If it is, then you're gonna look in the course because it's probably already answered. And if then you can't find it, you're going to look again. And then you're going to call me once a week for 45 minutes. I was like, oh, we can do that. Right. And so that's always been my approach with the coaches that I'm paying a lot of money for. And as pure effing coincidence, everyone in the inner circle does the same exact thing. So for him, my new mastermind or coach or whatever, it takes less time, effort, and energy to keep me happy and get my result than it is for somebody who pays him a lot less. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. But that's how it works, which is pretty cool. David says, what flavor you vaping?
I got a few.
Is it strawberry?
I got Space Jam, hot, particularly. I got Vapor's Choice. I don't even know. I use this service called Zample Box, so they just send me like 6 to 12 juices a month.
There's a box for everything nowadays.
Yeah.
Simon says, which niche is liked most by Ball Deep? I guess for like Facebook ads as a service and stuff. I'm guessing tax offices, right? Like so that's what we've been talking about.
That's one of our programs. Right now we're developing a program in the medical space. So then it varies.
We'll find out, right?
I will find out how that goes.
That's so effing cool. I'm so happy this darn thing worked out for you because like looking back, I remember when we were talking and you showed me the webinar at the ClickFunnels house. And I was like, holy crap, like it looks great, first off. And like you're hitting all the right points. Like the enthusiasm is like a 7, then it's a 9. And then you pregnant pause correctly. Like people type in, yes, let's do it. Like it blew my mind. And like everybody that was in the inner circle ClickFunnels house, like got to see you do it, which is pretty effing cool. Carlos says, are there anything specific for real estate investors? Do you have any experience in that type of thing?
Like they're trying to buy distressed properties. No, I might be developing a program for that because I have interest in going back into that in Texas. So nothing specific that I do for it.
Very cool.
I do want to give a story though. I mean, I told Ross I would give a story on it because is part of the bullet points that you put that we didn't get to, the 3 secrets to turning 12K into 300K.
I'm all ears.
Okay, so obviously number 1 is have a program to sell, right? Nobody wants to buy a Facebook ads. They don't want to pay a Facebook ads ad. They want to buy, like, you have the wallet out program, right?
Yep.
Like everyone wants to buy a program, have a program. So we had a program for that. So like you just heard me say, we're developing a program for something else because nobody just wants to buy ads. They want to buy a system, right? The downsell, obviously, I already spoke about. But one of the biggest keys, and we touched on it a lot, was the persistent follow-up. So Ross, and I remember I made a post about it. So on December 10th, Ross basically said, hey, I'm sick and tired of calling all these people. They're not answering. Like they literally ghosted him. Like you got to picture some of these people. We had proposals after them in October.
Yeah.
Literally at this point, Ross had made 5,000 phone calls. Like we ran the number on Ring Central. Like he made over 5,000 phone calls.
That's so many.
Right. And he's like, look, they're ghosting you. Like they got 20 emails, 20 text messages, who knows how many fucking phone calls. They're not answering. They're not interested anymore. It's December 10th. We're getting close. Fuck it. So all I said to him was, well, if we get one more deal, is it worth it? Right? So granted, a lot of this could be timing, like season's coming around the corner, like Christmas is right coming up, like you know what the fuck you're doing. A lot of it could have been that, which I'm sure it was. By next night, we had an extra 20 grand in closed deals.
That's crazy.
Right? So it's like a lot of it was just I believe it was the timing. Like, hey, like, dude, they were banging them all through November, like multiple times. You're not answering. Are you going to get called the next day? Like, hey, we just want to follow up on the proposal. Like, are you ready to go? Like, here, we need this, blah, blah, blah. And now they're just ghosting you. They don't even answer. Like, why are you going to keep calling? Well, guess what? Fucking Christmas is coming up, which is
right.
Taxes is right around the corner. You still don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Right.
So kind of bored. End up closing a massive amounts of deals.
That's crazy. One more, and that's crazy.
It turned into a couple of deals. Yeah, so that was pretty crazy.
Well, I do want to say, like, I've been in that group Zoom chat, and Ross is putting in time, effort, energy. I think you guys make a great effing team. Like, I don't know anybody else other than Ross that could be like, yeah, I'm ready to get started right now. Let's do this. And I think you put like 12, 18 hours a day into making this darn thing work, which is fantastic.
It was long days,
yeah.
right? Like at the end of the day, like they were fucking great. Like the amount of work that they put in was more than I would have expected. Like it literally came down to two choices. Like, hey, do I hire somebody like an operations person that I have to train them, or do I find people that can hit the ground running, right? So they were
very cool.
Go.
We're gonna do Q&A after I do the strategy call session. So Baldeep has agreed to do 3 15-minute strategy sessions. You can ask him anything you like. Either you're going to do the 3 of them separately or all together. It's up to him to figure it out. But you can ask him to go in more depth, more detail, how the group call worked, the webinar works, the Pipedrive, all that stuff. If you're interested in it, just type Baldeep my face, hashtag Baldeep.
Balls in my face.
Hashtag balls in my face. He said it. All right, balls with a Z. Hashtag balls in my face. And then Baldeep and I'll do a group intro. And the 3 of you can figure out a time, effort, energy, all that fun stuff. I think he's willing to show as much as he can and all that stuff. So what was the hashtag again, Baldeep?
Hashtag balls in my face.
There you go. There you go. So if you hashtag that right now, just like that, copy and paste it, I guess, then you're going to get on the phone with somebody who went from, I don't want to say 0, but made an extra $300,000 in 90 days.
Is that Mark, the guy that did calls for us?
It might be. I also want to say Robin Alex is also on the line too. So we get to say hi to Robin.
Robin?
We've got Mark Zhao, Eric Novak, Robert Dobrolovich. Robert's already in the inner circle, so you guys can talk all the time. And Jesse Estrada, so I'll connect the 3 of you. So, which is pretty darn epic. And Nick Horm just joined. Look at that. So I'll connect the 3 of you all together, and you guys will figure out a time. But we've got a couple more questions. Eric says, did I miss the part where you said how to get peeps on the webinar? Did you advertise on Facebook? And you did, right? You said, here's the ad. I know it works. I've got a background in it. And then you had your own like special targeting and all that fun stuff, right?
We'll go back. What was the question?
So Eric says, did I miss the part where Baldeep said how to get peeps on your webinar?
Oh, yeah. It was the Facebook ad, right? So the ad breakdown was basically, to reiterate, I put notes on it. So it was just attention to the audience, creating that common bond, like, hey, I get you, other people don't. Let them know about the program that we built, the results that program got last year, and scarcity and call to action. Very
cool. I do want to say I'm getting a lot of balls in my face. There's a lot of like hashtags. If you guys are interested in taking a next step with Baldeep, we are ballparking a masterclass where we will show you behind the scenes of how this darn thing works. If you're interested in that, just do hashtag masterclass, and then I'll reach out. We're going to figure out a masterclass that's well worth the time, effort, energy. It's a paid masterclass, $97. And we're going to figure it out. So if you're interested in that and want to get first dibs, just hashtag masterclass, we'll reach out. Because I've seen how he does what he did, and I'm using it on my own webinar, and now I'm like doing it as a service. Like, it's really effing cool. Some guy says, I can't pronounce his name. I'm going to try it. Prakhar says, how do you deal with less paying clients? Is there a way to filter? Did you think about that beforehand? How do you just ultimately deal with clients that can't afford you or less paying clients?
So it was the downsell. Like, there was no like, hey, you get a special deal. The program was the program. Like, you were in or you were out.
Yeah.
So like at first, when we first launched it, I did a $4,000 program where it was you pay $500 to reserve your seat, and then on November 15th you would pay $1,500. We would just auto bill it, right? So that's your deposit. And then on February 20th, which was after they already got paid, I would bill them the $2,000 balance, right? So that's how I structured it to spread it out for some people. Like the $10,000 customers, I would take like $4,000 down and $6,000 February 20th. And then I started doing $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 up front, depending on what I could get. Like, all right, cool. Oh, you know what? I did an offer. I was at John Lover's event in New York, the one I had those slides for.
Yeah.
And I sent out an email saying, hey, for the first person to say yes, you can get this program for $3,000 if you pay up front.
You sent that out at John Logar's event to your tax office people.
To the list of people that had already been through the webinar, that already knew the price, that had already done a call but hadn't paid us yet.
Yeah.
Right? So they already knew the pricing. So I was like, hey, it was like a one-time offer. Like, hey, you want to jump on $3,000? Some people took it.
Yeah.
So we ended up pitching that. Like, I would just feel it out. Do I want to do a split pay or do you want to do full pay? Do I want to, like, some people ended up paying $5,000 for the same thing. Other people paid $3,000 for it.
But that's how you get somebody who can afford it to afford it. Somebody who can't afford it, you just say, look, this program isn't a good fit. You don't cut the price in half. That will not get your intended result. Word will get around. You're not going to have a good time. But instead, you built out a program for those people. You said, like, look, we're building out a Facebook ads for tax offices. You have to run it yourself. We won't do it for you. It's still in beta. If you're interested, now's the time, and it costs you X dollars. That's how you handled less paying clients, right?
Yeah.
Very cool.
And the kicking myself in the foot thing was one person I had pitched $5,000 up. I had pitched her, I think, $4,000 up front. She paid me $4,000 up front. I'm like, yeah, she got me $4,000 up front. I didn't do a split pay. Yeah. And then she fucking spends $15,000 on ads. I'm like, fuck, I still want to try that.
Fantastic. I want to bring the sucker to close, Ball Deep. It's been like really, really cool. We have a lot of the same friends in common, but you've never lived your life the way I expected people, like, as your level of success to live your life, because I just know it from YouTube, right? Like, the second you get $10,000 a month, you get a fucking Lamborghini, right? Or something like that, right? And you've managed to build a business normal, make it successful like you should have, sell it and do it again and do it again and do it again without living like that over, like, loser Lambo lifestyle, which I tend to call it, right? Which I think is, like, absolutely fantastic.
I spent an obscene amount of money in strip clubs.
I believe that. Everyone's got their guilty habits, right?
Over $250,000 over the pen.
Okay, like, never mind. I take it back. Yeah, different ways to spend your money.
Being 2020, and then I bought the car. Like, dude, like, what I do now, I barely fucking drive the car. Like, it's such a bad investment.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, why do I even have it? It sits in my driveway. I have it, like, when I bought it in 2014, right? I spent a lot of money on it. Yeah. And literally now, we're in 2019, it has 25,000 miles on it.
That's, like, the weirdest part. Like, I think what happens is once you figure out success and the connection between work and reward, you realize that the luxuries you liked are really just distractions you'll never use again. Like, you don't want the car that you have to think about that you can't park everywhere. You don't want the 10-bedroom house you have to pay massive insurance on and maintenance on. Like it's just an entirely different way of thinking. But it's been super awesome having you on. For everybody that hashtagged balls in my face, you will get a PM from me introducing you. And for everyone who hashtag masterclass, Baldeep and I are going to figure out a time, make sure that it's worth your time, effort, and energy, and well worth the $97 we'll be paying for it. Baldeep, is there any, like, last comments, questions, concerns, thoughts, or ideas that you want to go over before we bring the sucker to a close?
You know what? I'm going to reiterate it because I know maybe not too many people talk about it. Maybe one person, I think Robin may have been the only person who have talked about it. Developing a program.
Yep.
Right. It's much easier to sell a program than it is. Like, I see people, like, in your group and other groups, like, asking for critiques on cold emails, and their cold email says, hey, I can do Facebook ads to get you patients. Like, nobody gives a fuck. Nope. Right. You want a program that's going to get them customers, and whatever you call that program is up to you. But I don't even mention Facebook ads in our marketing anymore.
I only mentioned Facebook ads, I think, like 35 minutes into the onboarding and pitch process. And that's in one of the 7 steps of a high-performing campaign, which is called the wallet out, ready to buy, button the seed customer campaign. So, like, I never lead with Facebook ads. I don't think anybody should lead with Facebook ads. You need to have a branded program. That's what Baldeep does. That's what I did. And you can watch Rob and Alex's previous interview, and he's like, I've got my 90-day branded program. So renewals are inferred, right? He's got an 87% renewal rate at, like, north of 10K plus per client because he has a program and then he puts a number in front of it. And so I think that's, like, really, really intelligent and very smart. So everybody watching, like, just have a branded program. Like, if you're in my course, you've got the wallet out campaign. Like, just use that. Stop saying Facebook ads or whatever. But this has been super awesome. Don't hang up because I just have to click end broadcast. Sure. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. That's it. You'll get your PMs and all that stuff. Baldeep, it's been a pleasure. Talk to you guys later.